Okay, so hi John, my name's Grant. I'm going to be going through this test with you today. Before we start, I just want to go over some basic information. I'm just going to be reading this off a script because I want to make sure that when I repeat this test, I say the same thing to everybody.
Okay.
First thing I want to let you know is we're only testing the application today, not you. You can't do anything wrong. In fact, if you do make mistakes, it only helps us along the way to further improve the system as we go on. Okay, so a little background on the app. The app you're testing today has been designed to be used by game development companies. Often, creating a new game is very time-consuming and hard to manage. It's a very time-consuming and hard to manage process. With this app, we've tried to allow a project manager to manage the game development process efficiently and effectively. So as you are testing the app today, I'm going to ask you to think out loud as much as possible. This means that when you're on a page, speak your thoughts, tell us what you think, what you're thinking at a current time. If you're thinking a button should do something but it doesn't, let us know. If it's something that is just an inefficiency of the app, you can't do it because it's just a prototype version of the app, I'll let you know that as you go and say It will be a fully fledged feature as we go in the future. Don't worry about telling us what you really think of the app as you go through. You're not going to hurt anyone's feelings as you go. Literally any bad side you have of the app can only help us later on in the future. Okay. If you have any questions as you're going through the app, feel free to ask them. I might not be able to answer straight away, as we want to know how people find using the app when they're not being guided with somebody else sat next to them. Okay. But these questions will be answered in the debrief meeting if they're not answered as you're using the app. Okay. For this test, you may have noticed the microphone in the room. With your permission, I'd like to record the test for future evaluation so that I can focus on you and your interactions rather than taking notes throughout this experiment. Is that okay?
Yep, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, so at this stage, do you have any questions?
No, not really anything to say right now.
Awesome. Well, I just want to get to know you a little bit before we start. So firstly, what is your current occupation?
I'm a student studying game development.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Just a little bit of a personal question. You can feel free not to answer this.
Okay.
But are you colourblind or have any visual impairment you would feel comfortable telling us about at all? This does feed relevancy into the app later on.
Yeah. I don't have any vision impaired things.
Awesome. As an estimate, how many hours a day would you say you spend on your phone?
Probably between 3 and 5, maybe, depending on the day.
How much would you say is that is devoted to work? Like checking emails for work, maybe replying group chats to do with work and stuff like that?
Maybe about half hour to an hour.
Half hour. So majority of the time is actually just leisure, sorry.
Yeah.
Awesome. Have any favourite apps? Ones you spend on more time than others?
Favorite apps generally just stuff like general social medias, Facebook, Twitter, stuff like that. Just things I can view things online.
Have you ever had any experience in managing things before, be it small scale between your friends, like are you the one to organise cinema trips or stuff like that normally, or larger scale things like at work? Have you ever been in charge of any kind of project, that kind of sense?
Yeah, during university I've had to obviously be involved in multiple group projects and stuff like that, and since it's games development, it requires some project leadership. For 1 or 2 projects, I had to do that via like group chats and stuff like that as well.
How did you manage these things? So when you were communicating with your team, how was that done, and how was task tracking done?
A lot of it, initially it was through things just like group chats and task lists set on like various things. However, we used other online software such as things Hack and Plan, just obviously improved tasks and stuff like that. But that's generally been it with it. None of them are being particularly too effective in terms of like keeping people up to date with tasks or anything. They still have to go out of their way.
Awesome. So you basically just use basic chats. You tell someone they've got to do something, and then you'd have to remind them manually as you go, kind of thing. Yeah. Awesome. So that's all the questions. I just want to let you know about the app you're going to be testing today. Mm-hmm. It's called Game Dev Assist. Mm-hmm. we're going to ask you to imagine that you are the project manager of an independent games development company.
All right.
When you log into this app, you only have one project you can access, and that is Project 5019. This is a project where it's in the beginning stages. You'll have access to the first 3 months of tasks, but nothing beyond that point in this prototype. Okay? The first stages of kind of virtually any games development, you're doing tasks such as creating documentation, letters, organising teams, team meetings, that kind of thing. Just general tasks, really, to keep it fully flexible so anyone can test this app and understand what it's doing. Yeah. Okay? The features should be there, though, so the features should be fully workable in a sense throughout the app. Just maybe not in every single place they should be workable within the app. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the first screen we're starting you on today.
Okay.
And from here, I'd like to just see if you can just go through and get to the project overview screen.
All right.
Kind of talk as you're going through. If you can't remember, just speak your thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this opening page, a lot of information here, that are text. But obviously, because there's an arrow here, it's very quite clearly clear. I'll click it to go to the next page. Looks like this is some sort of like introduction to the app, something like that. I'll just continue to click through. This indicates pushing on. Yep, just teaching me how to use the app, which is fair enough. Final click. Yep. So since this is a login page and all the information is already entered, I'll click the arrow again, since obviously I used it beforehand. And then, I'm at the project overview. So
awesome. How did you tell you at the project overview?
Because it's quite clearly says at the top, project overview, and also says throughout the page multiple times, project.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so, successfully completed, getting into the app. Then this is task number 1.
Okay.
For the remainder of the task, and only this task, I want you to imagine that you are colourblind.
Okay.
From where you are now in the app, if you wanted to change the colourblind options, how do you think you would do that?
Colourblind options?
Yes.
Well, one thing I would state is probably have to go to the cog at the top here. Yep. And as you see, there's an accessibility option here. So I'll have to click that. The colourblind section will be on.
Awesome. Yeah, great. That's quick and easy.
Yep.
So, second task.
Mm-hmm.
As the project leader, sometimes it's going to be up to you to assign tasks directly to the specific person you want to assign that task to.
Okay.
From where you are currently, I want you to imagine that you are looking for a person called Danny Summers.
Mm-hmm.
You need to assign a task directly to her. How do you think you go about doing this from where you are here?
Well, if the thing's already set up, I imagine the task's already set up. I imagine it'll be.
So the task isn't set up; it's a brand new task. You're assigning a brand new task to a person called Danny Summers.
Oh, if we're doing that, then I'd probably imagine you'd have to go into project, go back in there. Let's just see. Yeah, probably then would it be to do then. New task. It's obviously indicated. Yeah.
Cool. Do you think there's a way you can specifically search for Danny, maybe?
What, within this page
If
here?
you want to assign it directly to Danny, how do you think, is there a way maybe to...
Generally with stuff like this, I imagine it would be a, scroll down. Oh. But yeah, generally if you have a search function, something like that would be pretty handy.
So if you're going to search...
Danny Summers. Yep. And then, imagine this is...
Click to add new task. It is, yes. It is. That isn't something you can't do in the app just yet. But yeah, that would have been perfect. That's exactly how intended. But yeah, the other way would have been totally valid as well. You can go on To Do. To Do generally it automatically assigns it to you personally, but that option can be changed if need be.
Yeah.
And you want to assign it to someone else directly. So yeah, perfectly valid way of doing that. Okay, so for task 3, you currently have a task that is past its due date. Mm-hmm. You have just completed this task and you need to update the app. From where you currently are, how do you think you would go about updating the status of this task?
Well, if it's a task that you've just completed, but it was thing, I imagine this would be within the to-do section. And then from this, you would imagine you just tick one of these checkboxes. Yeah,
so it's the late task you've not submitted. So yeah.
Yep. And then you would tick that, and then you would complete to completed.
Yeah, awesome. So the way that you just tried to do it then, where you tick the little box as well, that is part of the full functionality of the app. You will just be able to quickly tick, and that was very well noticed. This is if you want the full information of the app itself.
That's fair enough.
Of the task itself, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to imagine you've just received a new message from a colleague from inside of the app. From where you are right now, how do you think you would check this message from another person inside of the company?
I think one of the key things would be to go to chat, look at the various things. So this one has a various obvious indicator that it's a new message compared to the other ones. So imagine it being clap, and then you can see the new message.
Awesome. Yeah, perfect. And then the last task we're going to ask you to complete today, if you can. Mm-hmm. You want to see what tasks are personally assigned to you for the next 7 days.
Okay.
Where do you think you'd find this information? And
myself?
If you could navigate to it as well.
Well, I imagine would it be within a profile? Yep. And it has here assigned tasks of what you have for the next 7 days.
Yeah, perfect. Mm-hmm. Takes you to your weekly objectives. Yep. Okay, awesome. So that's all the tasks. Mm-hmm. Just a few little roundup questions at the end there to debrief. Anything you'd like to know from us?
No.
Anything? No. Any features about the app you did like? Or anything about the app?
Well, it generally looks very. It looks great. It was generally very easy to use. There was no real issues. There's no clutter or anything like that just completely destroys the computers here or anything like that, like a lot of the other ones tend to do. And it seems all the systems are relatively simple to use compared to others.
Did you find any features missing that you might want to see in the app? So the one you struggled with probably the most was assigning it directly to a person.
Yeah.
So creating a new task overall. Is there any way you'd think maybe that this should be incorporated into the app?
I'm not sure. Generally, I think with the to-do section, which I originally attempted to do, you should just be able to it should be generally quick just to do the new task and assign to a new person. I think the general other a way to do it where you search. I generally didn't assume that search function was for searching through people, and then you could do it through that.
What did you assume it was for?
I assumed it was just search through tasks and things like that, more than I would think people within the project.
Did you notice these tabs at all, where it says today, weekly, and monthly on this current screen?
I did.
Did you notice the equivalent ones in the search function at all?
I did not know.
Okay.
With the jobs and people.
So it had the functionality that you thought it might do. It just you didn't think that was a way to search for people inside of the app as well.
Yeah.
Perfectly valid. Anything else you think might be missing from it?
No. Generally, it seems pretty good. Do
you think if you were to develop an app, an indie game yourself, you might use an app like this?
Yeah. I assume the only thing I would assume is that you have notifications pop up on your phone depending on tasks that are due. Mm-hmm. That's one of the key things with all the other software is that there's no reminder, there's no you have this due date. It's mostly that you have to manually check if a task is ready and when its due date is.
So functionality for reminders.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it has everything that would be necessary for this type of app of communication.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks for coming in today, John.
No problem.
It's been great.